I bought this repossessed Bugatti Veyron with supposedly a broken gearbox. Nothing happens if I try to go into drive. Nothing happens. But we managed to solve the problem with just a tiny fuse.
A Bugatti Veyron sat quietly inside a garage, while an enormous problem followed it everywhere. This was not an ordinary sports car waiting for a quick repair before returning to the road. This machine represented one of the greatest engineering projects ever created in the automotive world. Years earlier, people looked at the Bugatti Veyron as something almost impossible to build. It carried incredible performance numbers, extraordinary engineering, and a reputation that placed it above nearly every other production vehicle of its time. Yet despite everything that made it special, this particular Veyron had become trapped by a problem that seemed impossible to solve. According to the diagnosis connected to the car, the repair bill could reach nearly £300,000. That number alone was enough to completely change the future of the vehicle. For most people, spending that amount of money repairing one component feels impossible to justify. Even wealthy owners think carefully before approving enormous repairs. The previous owner reached that difficult point. The numbers no longer made sense. The vehicle stopped moving properly. The gearbox system appeared to have failed. The official repair path looked expensive beyond reason. Eventually, the owner walked away. The car remained behind while uncertainty surrounded its future. Many people assumed the Bugatti would remain parked forever. Some believed it might become another abandoned supercar story. Others thought somebody wealthy enough would eventually pay the repair bill without asking difficult questions. Then something unexpected happened. A creator known for rebuilding damaged performance cars entered the picture. Mat Armstrong built a reputation, doing things differently. Instead of avoiding complicated vehicles, he moved toward them. Instead of accepting expensive repair estimates immediately, he investigated deeper. Over time, viewers watched him rescue vehicles many people considered finished forever. That approach built enormous trust with his audience. People enjoyed seeing difficult automotive problems solved through patience, testing, learning, and persistence. When news spread that he purchased a Bugatti Veyron, carrying a reported £300,000 repair estimate, attention arrived immediately. Automotive communities started watching closely. People wanted answers. Could this actually be repaired? Was the diagnosis correct? Did the gearbox truly need total replacement? Questions filled comment sections across automotive media. The story became larger because expensive luxury manufacturers often operate differently from independent repair specialists. High-end vehicles contain advanced technology. Specialized tools become necessary. Factory systems sometimes encourage complete component replacement instead of repairing smaller internal failures. Some owners accept that process without concern. Others question whether simpler solutions occasionally exist. That debate would soon become central to this Bugatti story. What nobody expected was how surprisingly small one important discovery could become. An issue connected to a machine capable of producing extraordinary speed and performance would eventually point investigators towards something inexpensive, ordinary, and easily overlooked. Before reaching that discovery, however, understanding the Bugatti Veyron itself becomes important. Without understanding why this car mattered so much, the shocking repair story loses part of its impact. This was not simply another broken vehicle. This represented one of automotive history's most famous engineering achievements, and what happened next would create conversation throughout the performance car world. The Bugatti Veyron entered automotive history as a machine designed to challenge limits people once believed could never be broken. Before its arrival, manufacturers competed constantly to build faster, stronger, and more advanced performance cars, but Bugatti pursued something much bigger. Engineers wanted to create a road car capable of combining extreme speed, luxury comfort, engineering precision, and daily usability into one complete package. That goal sounded nearly impossible during the early development stages. Building a machine powerful enough to dominate speed records already presented enormous challenges. Making that same machine reliable, comfortable, and legally usable on public roads created an entirely different level of difficulty. When the Veyron finally arrived during the middle of the 2000s, automotive experts immediately recognized that something unusual had happened. The vehicle introduced technology rarely seen together inside one production automobile. At the center of everything sat a massive 16-cylinder engine supported by 4 turbochargers. The numbers shocked people around the world. More than 1,000 horsepower transformed the Veyron into one of the fastest production vehicles humanity had ever built. Speed records followed. Headlines spread everywhere. Automotive magazines covered every detail. Wealthy collectors wanted ownership opportunities immediately. The Veyron quickly became more than transportation. It became a symbol representing engineering ambition pushed beyond ordinary limits. Creating such a machine required extraordinary investment. Development costs climbed enormously during production planning. Engineers reportedly faced repeated technical challenges while attempting to balance heat management, aerodynamics, tire durability, cooling systems, transmission reliability, and high-speed stability. Building a vehicle capable of traveling at incredible speeds created problems many manufacturers never needed to solve. Airflow management became critical. Tire technology demanded unusual attention. Cooling systems required exceptional design because powerful engines generate enormous heat during operation. Every component connected closely with another system. Small failures inside high-performance machines sometimes produce major consequences. Because of this complexity, maintaining vehicles like the Veyron often costs far more than maintaining ordinary performance cars. Owners entering hypercar ownership usually understand those realities. Service procedures become specialized. Parts sometimes remain difficult to source. Certain repairs require factory-trained technicians possessing highly specific knowledge. That environment helps explain why repair bills surrounding ultra-luxury vehicles often create headlines. Stories about expensive maintenance follow nearly every major hypercar manufacturer. Brake systems cost enormous amounts. Tire replacements surprise owners unfamiliar with performance engineering realities. Specialized fluids, software systems, and component servicing create ownership experiences dramatically different from ordinary vehicles. Bugatti developed a reputation, sitting near the highest level of automotive expense. People almost expected shocking maintenance numbers whenever Bugatti ownership discussions appeared online. Yet even inside that expensive world, hearing a gearbox-related repair estimate approaching £300,000 felt extraordinary. Numbers reaching that level create emotional reactions immediately. Many people hearing those figures naturally assume catastrophic failure occurred internally. Gearboxes inside vehicles producing extreme horsepower operate under enormous stress. The Veyron uses sophisticated transmission engineering designed specifically to handle performance demands far beyond normal expectations. Complex systems sometimes justify expensive repairs. That reality made the original diagnosis believable enough that few questioned initially. When owners receive information from official repair channels, trust naturally becomes important. Factory systems exist partly because customers expect expertise, consistency, and confidence. Most people assume major manufacturers thoroughly investigate problems before recommending expensive solutions. That assumption shaped everything surrounding this Bugatti story. The previous owner heard frightening numbers connected to gearbox failure and made a difficult decision. Walking away from extraordinary machines rarely feels easy, but financial reality influences every ownership experience regardless of wealth. The Veyron eventually changed ownership, creating an opportunity nobody expected. Instead of disappearing quietly into storage or dismantling, the car entered the hands of someone approaching problems differently. That shift would begin revealing information nobody saw coming. Before reaching the final answer, however, one enormous question still remained. Did this Bugatti truly suffer catastrophic gearbox failure, or had something much smaller hidden itself beneath assumptions created by complexity and cost? The repair estimate changed everything about the Bugatti Veyron's future. Before that moment, the vehicle still represented one of the most respected hypercars ever created. Even with age, even after years of ownership changes, the Veyron carried enormous value because of what it represented inside automotive history. Collectors admired it, enthusiasts respected it, performance engineers studied it. Yet, one serious mechanical diagnosis transformed that admiration into uncertainty almost immediately. The reported issue centered around the gearbox system. In performance vehicles producing massive horsepower, transmission systems operate under tremendous pressure. They transfer power from the engine toward the wheels while managing forces most normal vehicles never experience. Hypercars especially rely on precise engineering because even small failures can affect drivability, reliability, and safety. When owners hear that transmission systems inside rare performance vehicles may require replacement, concern arrives instantly. Costs connected to high-end automotive repairs regularly surprise people unfamiliar with the supercar world. However, hearing numbers approaching £300,000 created shock even among experienced enthusiasts. That figure became central to the story because it felt so extreme. For many observers, the number itself almost confirmed something catastrophic must have happened internally. People naturally assumed serious gearbox damage existed somewhere deep inside the vehicle. The previous owner reportedly received information suggesting major repair work will become necessary. Faced with enormous financial commitment and uncertainty surrounding the final outcome, ownership decisions became difficult. Expensive cars sometimes create difficult choices because repair costs can occasionally challenge financial logic itself. Spending extraordinary amounts repairing vehicles becomes harder when uncertainty remains. Owners may wonder whether additional problems could appear later. They may worry about investing enormous money without guarantees against future complications. Eventually, difficult decisions happen. That reality affected this Veyron directly. The vehicle moved away from ordinary ownership and entered a different situation entirely. Cars carrying major repair concerns often lose value quickly because uncertainty discourages buyers. Potential owners hesitate. Dealers hesitate. Investors hesitate. Nobody wants unexpected financial surprises hidden inside complicated machinery. That environment creates opportunities for specialists willing to investigate deeper than traditional purchasing approaches allow. Mat Armstrong built his reputation operating inside exactly that environment. His channel developed attention through rebuilding damaged performance cars many people consider beyond saving. Instead of avoiding complicated projects, he accepted challenges others rejected. Viewers followed his work because his process emphasized investigation before assumption. Expensive repair estimates alone never automatically convinced him. Testing mattered. Verification mattered. Diagnostics mattered. Mechanical understanding mattered. Over time, audiences watched him rebuild vehicles carrying serious damage, complicated histories, and difficult repair challenges. That pattern created trust between creator and audience because viewers appreciated watching problems solved step by step rather than through dramatic shortcuts. When news spread that he purchased this Bugatti Veyron, curiosity exploded across automotive communities online. People immediately recognized potential entertainment value. A hypercar carrying extraordinary repair estimates entering the hands of someone known for questioning assumptions created powerful storytelling naturally. Viewers wanted answers. Was the gearbox truly destroyed? Could repairs happen outside official systems? Would hidden damage appear later? Automotive enthusiasts followed closely because stories challenging expensive assumptions always attract attention. Yet something even larger sat quietly underneath the entertainment aspect. This situation touched broader conversations happening throughout modern automotive culture. Increasing vehicle complexity changes repair experiences dramatically. Electronics influence nearly every system inside modern cars. Software controls important operations. Specialized tools become necessary. Manufacturers increasingly manage repairs differently than independent specialists. Some people support those systems completely. Others question whether simpler solutions sometimes disappear beneath complicated procedures. This Bugatti situation would soon become part of that debate. The Veyron arrived carrying enormous expectations, serious questions, and one reported gearbox problem expensive enough to convince previous ownership that continuing no longer made sense. But before replacing expensive components, before accepting catastrophic failure, one simple principle guided the investigation forward. Start small. Verify basics. Test assumptions. Sometimes expensive problems hide surprisingly ordinary causes, and soon that possibility will become impossible to ignore. Mat Armstrong approached the Bugatti Veyron differently from how many people expected. Large repair estimates often create psychological pressure before mechanical investigation even begins. People hear enormous numbers connected to complicated machinery and naturally assume major failure exists somewhere hidden deep inside expensive systems. Hypercars especially create that reaction because advanced engineering encourages people to believe problems must always involve complicated solutions. The Bugatti Veyron represented one of the most advanced production vehicles ever created during its era. Massive performance capability combined with specialized engineering naturally created an ownership experience different from ordinary cars. When major systems stopped functioning properly, people expected difficult repairs. Yet Mat built his reputation challenging assumptions exactly like those. His rebuilding process usually followed simple principles. Start with basics first. Confirm symptoms carefully. Avoid guessing. Test systems methodically. Eliminate simple possibilities before moving toward expensive conclusions. That approach shaped everything that happened next. When the Veyron arrived for investigation, one problem immediately stood at the center of attention. The vehicle would not move properly. The engine started, but the transmission system refused normal operation. Attempting to engage driving functions failed repeatedly. The situation naturally supported existing concerns surrounding gearbox failure. Most people observing those symptoms could easily conclude major internal damage existed. A vehicle producing extraordinary horsepower depends heavily on transmission systems operating correctly. When movement disappears completely, owners often fear worst-case scenarios immediately. That fear partly explains why expensive repair estimates become believable so quickly. Symptoms sometimes appear large, while underlying causes remain surprisingly small. Discovering the difference requires patience, process, and willingness to investigate carefully rather than immediately replacing major components. Mat understood the reality through years rebuilding damaged vehicles. Experience taught him that expensive assumptions occasionally hide ordinary failures underneath. Electrical issues create misleading symptoms regularly. Small components sometimes disable major systems entirely. Modern vehicles especially depend heavily on sensors, communication modules, relays, and electronic management systems working together properly. One small interruption occasionally affects larger vehicle behavior dramatically. Instead of accepting conclusions immediately, investigation began carefully. Another important part of Mat's process involves seeking expert assistance whenever specialized knowledge becomes necessary. Automotive rebuilding increasingly combines traditional mechanical understanding with electronic diagnostics and software analysis. Complex vehicles require teamwork. Specialists often contribute knowledge difficult for one person alone to possess completely. During the Veyron project, diagnostic support became important quickly. Remote testing methods allowed deeper investigation into vehicle systems communicating electronically behind the scenes. Modern cars constantly exchange information internally. Computers monitor operations continuously. Sensors collect data constantly. Diagnostic systems help technicians observe information ordinary driving experiences never reveal directly. Understanding what electronic systems report becomes essential during difficult investigations. Early testing produced something interesting. Commands sent toward important systems appeared normal electronically. Computer information suggested certain operations should function properly. Yet, physical reality beside the vehicle showed different behavior entirely. Components expected to activate remained silent. Mechanical